Hey everybody, and welcome to Bonsai by Alan. So I really grow a lot of shohin trees, and I like shohin because they have a lot of positive aspects. They're smaller, so you can put a lot of trees in the same space as one giant tree. They're also easier to move around, they're a lot more mobile. However, that mobility sometimes can also be a liability, as is the case with this guy because he fell off the bench and two limbs broke. I actually saved this one. It was right there and it was severed completely. And then this one here is just hanging on by a thread. I could probably just yank it off, but I don't want to scar the bark. So I'm going to cut that off. And this really helped with the ramification of the second main branch, so I'm going to have to start over with that. But the tree overall is a pretty nice little tree. I can probably just pop it right off. There we go. Another thing I don't like about this tree is it has no roots over on this side. And if you see, there's a notch right there. And I actually cut into the cambium, then added rooting hormone, and then packed that with moss while it was in this pot. But the moss just didn't really do much. It didn't stay. So I really still want roots to be coming out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into this pot. This pot is about twice as deep, but very close to the same other dimensions, length and width, but about twice as deep. So then I'm just going to bury this guy, and hopefully with this part of the trunk under the dirt, it'll be more prone to producing roots. And I have the feeling this guy is root bound in this pot pretty good. And it's one of those trees that also lost a lot of leaves in the cold. It really hasn't responded much, mainly because I think it's still root bound. So putting it in a larger pot I think is going to give it a new lease on life. The rest of the design is really, I like it. It's got nice motion, nice taper. It's kind of the way I like my bonsai. So that's the order of business for today, is to repot this guy. And I'm not going to cut a notch in this anymore. I'm going to poke holes, but still add some rooting hormone, and then bury it deep enough so that that portion of the trunk is under the soil, and with any luck we'll get some roots. So I'm going to get set up to do that, and I'll be back. Here it is out of the pot, and it's definitely root bound, and it's got a little point there where it came out of the drain hole. So I'm going to, first I'm going to poke holes with my auger into the trunk right here where I want the roots. Just enough to expose the cambium. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm getting down into the green cambium there. And then a little bit of root hormone. I'm just going to stick it on there with my fingers. Like that. That's a good bit. Looks good. And with any luck it'll take. I think even if it's buried a little, even without roots, it just won't look so lopsided. And then we're going to take our little root hook. And this was actually a three-pronged weeder, and you notice right there the weld broke for the other two prongs, so it left me with only one prong. But this is a nice little root hook now, so I saved it. Oh yeah, nice healthy roots. And this was actually in a landscape mix, so it wasn't in bonsai soil. And I'm probably going to just put it back in landscape mix for the time being. Oops, Just lost my root hook off the bench. Give this guy a haircut. The pot's deep enough. It does have some moss, so I'm going to try to remove some of the moss and then stick it back on. I don't normally promote moss per se, it just shows up. So I'm not really worried about losing the moss because it'll come back. I don't really need to do that much with the edge here because the pot it's going in is pretty similar as far as dimensions here. When we've got the drainage mesh that needs to get cut out of there. Or ripped out of there. Okay, there we go. Get rid of all the roots. And then here's the new pot. And I want to get that baby down in there. So I think that's going to be pretty good. So it's really going to be basically right at the bottom of the pot in order for this section of the roots to be buried. And so the moss that's there will be going bye-bye because it's going to be buried too. And I've got some landscape mix here. Just toss it in there. I may actually need a little more. Maybe I can sweep up what's here and get enough. Of course, I've always got more sitting in the shed if I need it. Okay. And I really didn't change the aspect of the tree as far as the front or anything like that. You know, it looks kind of lopsided now because that branch that was coming out here that filled that front is now gone. But I think that the part of the trunk that needs to be buried needs a little more soil. But that's about it for this guy. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of fertilizer and begin to water. You know, I water regularly anyway. It's been so dry here. We're in our dry season, so that's pretty much normal. So there you go. And I'm probably going to take some of this stuff off in the back here just to shorten it a little bit. And the rest of the structure of the tree I think is pretty good. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and you can watch the progress of this guy as I post future updates. And leave a comment if you'd like. And that's it for today. Unfortunately, you know, sometimes show him because they are so quote-unquote mobile. They can be knocked off the bench. This was knocked off the bench by heavy wind in a rainstorm. So it happens, but it's not insurmountable. I think it's still a nice tree and will continue to be a nice tree. Just need to fill out this pad a little more. And this guy here is a little heavy right there, so we're going to chop him back too. Actually, maybe chop that guy back too. Alright, there you go. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.